Tay, you knew I was muted and you didn't start talking?
I didn't know you was muted. Not at first.
Okay, you're listening to Poetry Slam with Bellz.
And your boy Oh, I'm TayDZ, y'all. How y'all doing?
Yeah, he's excuse me, he's out at a wedding this time. So we've got Tay filling in full time. Hey Tay, put us on freeze.
Yes. Today, I am the head of the freezer. Today, I am the head chef. I am the man behind the cold. And today, I'd like to talk about the inability to read media, if not just the inability to read context in your favorite forms of fiction, and maybe even nonfiction, but mostly fiction. So, a god.
We're already starting on a completely different note because
I know.
we might would not be this serious on this topic.
I'm I am anything but Napoleon B. Might.
Yeah, B might bring the jokes, and here you bring literary series
I
to my
I
life.
can bring me some jokes, and I can joke around right now. But let me go ahead and talk to y'all about some jokes. So, a Godzilla movie just came out recently. It's called Godzilla Minus One. Now, for people who are not on the nerdy side of things, Godzilla's the big old giant lizard dinosaur thing that shoots out atomic breath. Um, Made in Japan in about like 1954 or 55, somewhere around that. And Godzilla's main thing is he or it, I don't know, is a rampaging ball of destruction that destroys Tokyo or whatever city he decides to rampage in. And Godzilla, for a lot of people, is just, ooh, yeah, monster destroy things. Ooh, it fires off neurons in their brains, basic monkey neurons. So, Godzilla speaks to the lizard brains of us all. So
Tay,
people
speak
don't
for yourself.
speak for
I don't have
myself.
hair on my scalp. What the heck?
We all have a lizard brain in the back of our main brain. I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, Godzilla's main thing is that he destroys things. However, what people don't seem to always think about is that Godzilla was made in 1954, about a good, at least not even a decade after the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Godzilla was basically an allegory for Japan's fear of nuclear weapons. Godzilla, a monster who shoots atomic breath in a nation that's had the atomic bombs dropped on them. The allegory is very simple. However, I saw a comment that people agreed with on a post, and this comment essentially said, "Oh, this is what Hollywood should be doing. Nothing, no agendas being pushed, no politics in my movies, just good old fashioned monster movies." And in my mind, I'm thinking, once again, a poor Neanderthal who cannot understand media literacy. And it dawns on me, everybody always says they want their media to be a little less political. Come to find out that these people's favorite media is Star Wars, Star Trek, Godzilla. If you can't see the political messages of those three franchises, I don't know what to tell you. Everything that you look at and view has some political message of some sort. Titanic had a political message. Avatar had a political message. Pinocchio had a message. Everything kind of has a message to it. It's sort of the point of a story. Stories weren't just told just to be told. Stories were told because they had a meaning behind them. That's how you tell a story.
But every story's message is not a societal or social commentary. And a lot of people watch and listen to stories as a method of escapism or simply for entertainment. A lot of people just don't go for psychological stimulation to get new ideas about the world. They just experience a fictional world.
Thing is, as wonderful as that sounds, the best stories that you enjoy are very likely political. Even if you don't notice them, they're political. Every Disney movie has some kind of a message, you know. People, but now people say that, oh, Disney just pushed an agenda. They were always pushing an agenda. Let's be real with ourselves here. Your favorite media is probably political in some form of nature. It's probably giving a message. It's just that it's not necessarily being drilled into you now. It's just most people just don't notice the message because they, like you said, they'd rather escape. But and that's fine, but to say that there is none is kind of crazy to me because it's very likely your favorite writer, your favorite artist, your favorite maker of media probably has a message to tell you. The only things on TV that may not have a message might be game shows and reality TV. But let's be real, the Real Housewives of Atlanta probably has a message in there somewhere. You just aren't looking too deep into it. Even if it's just
You know,
a
I
simple.
like to.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Tay.
Go ahead, go ahead. No, please.
Okay. I was gonna say I'd like to throw this back to our very first episode when we had Marvy Brown on, and he was our very first. Well, he was our very first guest. I'll say that, not the very first episode, very first guest, and he performed a poem by Amiri Baraka. Amiri Baraka actually has a quote about art and poetry. He says, "The attempt to divide art and not art and poetry, art and politics." The quote is, "The attempt to divide art and politics is a bourgeois, which says good poetry, art cannot be political. But since everything is political, even an artist or work that claims not to have any politics is making a political statement by that act."
Yes. Yes, it is. Even through your wish to not have any political message or to not have any emotional message, you are essentially creating a message that kind of just, even if it's inadvertent, that basically says, I'm living in a world that does not exist. You know,
Yeah. And more simply put by this guy, August Wilson, he says, all art is political in the sense that it serves someone's politics. So it could be world politics or it could be personal politics. But
mm-hmm.
a story in a form is political.
Yes, very much so. And unfortunately, most people don't think about that. But, it does get on my nerves a little bit, but I personally should cool off about that. So allow me to stuff myself back into the freezer with my little bit of a replacement of the B Mites freezer. This was TayDZ's freezer, or maybe TayDZ's refrigerator. I don't know.
Ooh, well, when B Mike watches this back, he'll have to determine how cold this was.
He's so serious looking. He's just judging me.
Okay, so thank you so much, Tay, for doing your best with that freezer. And up next on the show, we're going to have two topics. One is going to be about Gen Z buying dupes, and the other is going to be about the famous movies being made into musicals in later this year and early next year. Also, we have some poetry news. Tay, is there a little sneak peek of the poetry news for when we come back?
Yes, poetry news is going to be about life and death.
Oh, that's mysterious. Okay, well, stay tuned. We'll be back after the break to talk about Gen Z again. Okay, how do I do this? Sorry, B Might always does this. I guess it's You're listening to Poetry Slam with Bellz.
And TayDZ, how y'all doing?
B-Mite is coming back next week, hopefully, if he's not too mad about Tay being in his place.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all. I'm a perfect plan B.
Preventing babies from crying.
Nah, I'm just preventing babies, bro.
That's funny. Okay, so I want to start this next topic with a poem, and then we're going to get to talking about it. So this poem is called I'm Stuck at Poetry. Let me cut off this music. Bye, Tay. I'm stuck at poetry. I'm stuck at poetry. I wish I had a poem in me that would come out Poetry. Try. I'm stuck at P. Please help me write something with a rhyme scheme. Scribble the beat that will unstress the lack of money from my paycheck. Time, give that back. I need that 25% gratuity ain't included. No, not with the way my pockets are stressed. My bifold wallet won't stretch. It's cracked like the creases on this forehead. I'll say it again. I ain't get no tax return check. But I won't start dressing like I stand outside the gas station. I'm on go to Canal Street in NYC like that girl. Run me something off the black market because Chanel, Gucci, and Balenciaga, don't know how to mark their prices. It's just a look. Nothing private. Please help me fake this fancy so I can live free on a little bit of money and get a teensy bit of timing for this poetry. Please get me past P. I'm trying to make poetry. Okay, Bellz.
Oh! Well, oh! Okay. One thing. Mm-hmm. One thing I
like the Fresh Prince.
One thing I always do like about your poems, Bellz, is that you always bring the emotion and the energy. You always bring fire. That was fire. That it sounds like you're somebody who absolutely who wants to be paid from poetry, who's looking to be paid from something. Your paycheck looking a little light, apparently, huh, Bellz?
Yes, I feel I'm doing a lot of things for free. I need money from all my hobbies. Neil. Yeah, okay, thank you, Tay. That was a very interesting interpretation. That was one of my last minute poems. It's rough. It could use a few more lines and finishing. And I want to say the part you picked up on wasn't really the point I was trying to make. So I really know I can send that back to the drafts. It was inspired by the fact that a lot of people in my generation, Gen Z, we have no problem buying fake anything. So I came across this article on Business Insider called Gen Z is the dupe generation, meaning to say that of previous generations, including X and Y, we buy the most dupes, like the most knockoff or fakes of things. Now, this statistic was based on the older part of Gen Z, older part being those of us who are already over 18. And you know what? When I learned about this, I was not surprised because I remember when I was growing up and I used to watch a lot of beauty YouTubers like doing makeup and things. And like just 10 years ago on YouTube, it was a huge trend to do things like hauls. People still do them, but I feel there's more of an attitude of consumerism. Like a lot more people are against like buying a lot of stuff in excess and fast fashion, especially with companies like Shein around and Temu that are just like producing things that are bad for the environment and are creating more waste. Um, However, like even back then when there were people who were doing hauls and like emptying out all the products that they would buy, like it was a popular thing to try to find like a dupe for high-end makeup. Like if you couldn't afford to spend like over $60 on a single lipstick, here's an $8 lipstick that gives you the look you're looking for. And I think it was like in our generation where wearing like certain brands, I don't want to like take it all the way back to FUBU because I didn't even wear FUBU, but like
FUBU.
I know like, wearing certain brands didn't really matter. Like I wore a lot of Aeropostale. I don't know if that was even cool to wear, but that wasn't even a topic of conversation. Granted, I went to private schools, but it's definitely more on trend for my age group to do things like thrifting, like wearing gently used stuff, making your stuff, sort of thing. And also, we're kind of on a beat of trying to be more economical, saving money, like just get the look. That's all you need. It doesn't really matter as much if it's not the brand because our focus isn't necessarily supporting those big brands and like adding to that novelty. We're more focused on supporting smaller brands and small businesses that make us feel good and look good because that's all it's about, the look. So what do you think, TayDZ?
I mean, buying dupes, I like that Gen Z does not buy from companies like I like that they stand on on their ground. They stand on their opinion and they don't buy from companies like they stand on business. They don't buy from companies that they don't support or don't support causes that they support. It's one of those things where, people always say they want to boycott, but the last really important boycotts we had were probably the civil rights movements back in the 60s, you know. Now, like for instance, the boycotts nowadays that are happening with certain companies, they're not buying. Like for instance, Starbucks is being boycotted by the Palestine ceasefire people, and they've cost Starbucks some big money. They're buying from other coffee places, quite frankly, you know. Um, and when it comes to fashion, me personally, buying from Shein and Temu, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't know why y'all give money to Temu and Shein. Because Temu and Shein, yeah, it's cheaper, but it's cheaper because, they got them kids up in China and Thailand making it with them little tiny hands. So, I mean, that's why it's cheap. Anything that's cheaper is probably being made by, made through funky means or made with bad material. But if it looks good, then it looks good. I think more about like the bootleg era when people used to just buy bootlegs all the time.
Yeah. But you know what? The dupes now, like there's such thing as a good dupe. Like if there's $100 leggings and you can find a good dupe for that brand that's only $37, well, you've saved a lot of money there. You've saved about what, $63? instead of buying the leggings that by that brand, you have the same look, and the leggings that you bought um,
Mhm.
are a good quality. So I think there's such thing as a good dupe and a bad dupe. A bad dupe is it doesn't really look like the thing you are trying to get, and it doesn't last. So I just want to give you this information really quick. First, for the first time yesterday, I purchased something from TikTok Shop.
TikTok Shop is. Mm, I mean, okay. I actually trust TikTok Shop sometimes because I feel like a lot of those people, they're like they're just small businesses, and I used to see people complain, "Oh my goodness, your prices are too high." Well, this one person is making all this stuff in this shop. You know, you pay for quality, and you pay to support your favorite creators. That's my thought.
Okay, at first I had a negative opinion of TikTok Shop because I thought it was just a bunch of vendors selling like very cheap, poorly made products from China that,
Hmm.
are just like 2 cents, are gonna break. It's just a waste of money. I knew there were small businesses on there uploading their things and selling, but I kind of thought it was just another Temu that people could very easily upload their stuff onto. But then I started seeing TikToks of products that I wanted, and my only drawback with it is I'll see something on there like orange soap, and like it'll be ratings.
Hmm.
It'll be like ratings on the soap, but then I'll go into the shop and that will be made by like so many different brands. So it's like, okay, I know I want this orange soap, but from whom do I buy it? Like there are so many selling the same thing. I don't know which one is the thing. It's like an overcrowding of dupes. Like which is the authentic and which is not? Like is it just the thing? But I kind of want to make a point of saying that like 61% of Gen Zers said they use TikTok most often to find dupes.
Hmm.
And I don't really shop for dupes on there, but I have fallen into that hole. And I will add to your point of saying when you pay, I guess, less on the front end, like I guess you decide to pay on the back end, which is when you get something that's a lower price, you get something that's cheaper to produce, and that sort of is counterintuitive to the ideas of being environmentally friendly and like, honoring good work practices, because those high end brands like let's just say Chanel, like their stuff is made by like actual like people like that earn a living wage. So like a part of that price is to cover like good working conditions for people um all the way out in Europe. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So that was my topic, and um yeah, I'm with the trend.
Well, yeah. I understand. I get it. Get your dupes however you can. Get quality. Don't break an no, or don't spend an arm and a leg for that quality, and don't support businesses that you don't want to support. I get that, and I respect it honestly. So I guess we'll be back after this next break, huh?
Yes, we'll be back.
Hmm.
You're listening. Oh, you're listening to Poetry Slam with K Bell.
And the working man, TayDZ.
Hey, welcome back, Tay. Okay, we took a little bit of a longer break than we intended. However, we are back, and I'm going to bring us in with a poem to introduce the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, get backstage, Tay. Gotta put a pause for the Christmas music. Okay, you know how I get down. I just wrote this on the break. So, this poem is called Give Me. Give me 2 stage plays. Not mean girls, give me 3 nice women, black and educated, high fashion, well articulated. Not the color purple, give me a shade yellow, old white woman, scamming tourists downtown. Give me a story, doesn't have to be original, must be everything but a joke. Give me something real, a true problem that goes unsolved. I want relatable, not relabeled. Give me a fresh story. Okay, Bellz.
Mm. Okay. Okay. You want something new? You want something new? I feel that. I feel that. You want something new. You don't want just a rehash of the same old thing, same old, same old. You want twists. You don't want just Pepsi. You want Pepsi with a lemon twist. Anybody remember Pepsi with a lemon twist? I understand that. I understand that, K Bells.
Thank you, Tan. I knew you would get it. Yeah, so that poem was inspired by the fact that they're remaking, well, they've already remade it, The Color Purple. They remade The Color Purple, and it's coming out on Christmas of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they remade it as a musical. And I'm not against that. However, I feel The Color Purple that came out in, I'm trying to look it up, The Color Purple movie came out.
I think like 87, maybe.
Is it
I'm
87? Oh, you're close. The Color Purple came out in 1985, and
mm,
that's the version with Whoopi Goldberg playing Celie and Oprah Winfrey playing Sophia, and it was
mhm.
directed by Steven Spielberg, and that came out December 18th in 1985.
Man, Spielberg
So
made wow.
he
Shot.
directed that. Yeah, and the Color Purple that's coming out really in 10 days
Mm-hmm.
was directed by Blitz Bazawule. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name properly, but one of the producers is Steven Spielberg, Oprah Winfrey, and Quincy Jones. It has multiple producers listed here. However, those are the most well known.
Mm-hmm.
And this person, Blitz, oh, this is a man. I thought, sorry,
Right.
I thought Blitz was a woman. I apologize. Blitz is a man, and um, I believe he had a theater version of The Color Purple. Like he had The Color Purple on Broadway at first, and then they wanted to make his version, his Broadway musical, into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have a new Color Purple film. And do you want to guess the budget for The Color Purple this year, Tay?
Well, let's see. I'm going to assume the current budget was 70 mil.
Okay. So hold on a second.
I'm only saying 70 mil because of inflation and the fact that, you know, it's probably about to be really big. It's probably, Color Purple in 1985 was just a thing Spielberg was making. But Color Purple in this year is a classic. It's basically a new take on a classic. I'm gonna put more money into it.
Okay, so I just want to say that it's not obvious to me online like how much they actually spent on the film. However, here's a quote from Oprah talking about why Beyonce is not in The Color Purple. This was her answer. To be completely honest about it, if you were doing this film for 30 or 40 million, the interest in the cast would be very different, Winfrey explained. Once the film moved to 90 to 100 million, then everybody wants us to bring Beyonce. Can you get Beyonce or can you get Rihanna? So we're sitting in a room saying, listen, we love Beyonce, we love Rihanna, but there are other actors who can do this job. So that sort of indicates that the film budget was around 90 million to 100 million, probably closer to 100 million for this year's The Color Purple. And the first Color Purple was made with $15 million, so just at least 15% of this year's budget. So
only just 15% of the original's budget?
So yeah, the original in '85 was made using $15 million, and we're guessing that this year's Color Purple was made using $100 million.
100 mil.
Yeah.
Yo.
And just to sum it up, the conversations about Beyonce wasn't even a negotiation because she's busy. She was busy, so they didn't get Beyonce. But yeah, so that's the little fun fact on that. And we're also getting a remake on Mean Girls. So Mean Girls is coming out in 2024, next year. And it's coming out January 12th. So do you remember when the original Mean Girls came out?
04 with Lindsay Lohan.
You got it right. 20 years ago with Lindsay Lohan. That is the cult classic. And so I want to bring up these stories because they have some similarities. So both have a female lead. I mean, although they are vividly different stories. Like one is about an African American teenager in the I think early 1900s, growing up in rural Georgia.
Really?
And she's yes.
Have
you seen Color Purple?
I'm sorry. I thought you were still on Mean Girls for a second. So I was thinking.
No, maybe I forgot to say what the beginning of my sentence. So I'm trying to surmise what The Color Purple is about. Yeah, so it's about an African American teenager in rural Georgia in the early 1900s, and then Mean Girls is about 3 Caucasian teenagers going to public school and all the dramas that come with that, and fitting in and trying to get a boyfriend, all that stuff. And it's basically what the title says. Mean Girls.
I have the poster if you want to show it on the Mean Girls poster, if you want to show it.
Oh, if I want to show it, should I?
If you want to.
Nice. Okay, yeah, so that's the new Mean Girls poster. Mean Girls the musical. So Mean Girls is considered a form of cult classic or an iconic movie that's referenced a lot. The Color Purple is also very coveted, and it's also being remade into a musical. I feel like making the movies into a musical is sort of a catchy way to remake it without destroying the integrity of the original. It's like, here is the surmised version of the original story for a new audience, anybody who forgot or anybody who wants to know. That doesn't bother me. Oh, this is the Color Purple, the new Color Purple. I know Taraji's in it. I know Halle Bailey's in it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting using musicals as like new framing points. Normally what happens is these things become plays, and those plays are musicals. Like Mean Girls. See, here it is, and I'm thinking what's been happening is Mean Girls, the movie, became Mean Girls, the play on Broadway, with all those songs. And then Mean Girls, the play on Broadway, became Mean Girls, the new reboot movie that's now a musical. Same with Color Purple. I'm pretty sure Color Purple became a musical on Broadway at one point. Like things that become musicals on Broadway seem to be now becoming musicals in theaters. I think we're getting Broadway adaptations again. And I wouldn't be shocked if something like Hamilton became a movie next. I feel like Color Purple, honestly, it's such a hit movie. And you're right, it's such a classic, and they have to know nothing's ever going to stand up to the OG. Nothing's ever going to stand up to Oprah and and Whoopi, Celie going, nothing's ever going to stand up to this. Like nothing. But
There's some nuanced scenes in that movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they're going to try and do something different, and you can't fault them for that. You really can't.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't fault them. I feel like changing the genre of the story does a lot to keep you from comparing it to the original drama in a negative way, whether it's a comedy or a drama. Like the fact that it's a musical puts it in a frame where you can retell it in a new way, in the original elements, but you also have freedom to change it and make the tone what you need for a new generation or audience. So I'm not at all against remaking things into movies. I definitely think reboots have their place, which is to refresh a story for people who may not have ever heard of it at all otherwise. Like things need to be remade for new audiences just to continue the story. Like I don't want The Color Purple to stay in 1985. Like because it's being remade in 2023, like now the story is more likely to be alive in 2050 because watching something from 1985 in 2050 but that's a long time. But from 2023, I feel like it may be a little more, it may be just fresher. So I think remakes do have their place. However, I'm not a fan of Hollywood just remaking things. I do feel that the original is just a stone. Like that's sentimental, and it doesn't need to be remade so much because the movie was so good that it still has a cult following and it still has relevant iconography. And I would rather have new original stories. Like we don't have to put $100 million into creating a story that has already been done the best way it can be done. We can make something new.
Oh yeah.
So that's my take. It's not that they shouldn't have remade The Color Purple. I would just prefer if they gave us a completely new story because seeing the same stuff even in a different genre, it's like repeating fashion trends, but like the cycle is so close, it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather we get new stories as well. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's better. It's better for Hollywood. It's better for people. And honestly, if me personally, even in 2050, I feel like people are gonna be watching the '89 version.
I
Just
will
like
be.
how, yeah, like Like just like how like even in like the year 2023, yeah, the Little Mermaid with with Halle Bailey came out, but it's not going to top the original Little Mermaid, not by a long shot. There's just something about the original Little Mermaid that's just so perfect. You can't really try to. There's nothing to fix about it. You're just sort of you're putting a new coat of paint on it, pretty much.
You said the poetry news with TayDZ.
Don't y'all come back here now. Hello, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How are y'all doing? I'm TayDZ. I'm here with the news today. Now, my partner in crime over there, she had an entire 30, 40 minutes. But now it's time for TayDZ to tell y'all a story. It's time for poetry news. I'm going to start off with the sad news and off with the nicer news. First sad news, they finally figured out the cause of death of one Mr. Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry, of course, y'all know, died last month, found laying face down in his hot tub. So apparently it was a overdose of ketamine. But before you go on and say that, oh no, he went back to doing drugs again, did he? No, not necessarily. So apparently the ketamine was a part of a treatment that he was doing for his drug addiction. So to basically put it, he was undergoing ketamine infusion therapy, an experimental treatment used to treat depression and anxiety. So I had never heard of ketamine infusion therapy at all. That's a whole new thing to me. Mind-altering ketamine becomes latest pain treatment, despite little research or regulation, says the AP. So apparently, whatever ketamine fusion therapy is, it's experimental. It's not 100% finalized. It's something that's pretty risky to begin with. And whatever treatment he was doing with ketamine, basically, it can kind of make you like. Basically, if he was going to do this, he shouldn't have done it in a hot tub, or he shouldn't have done it and then gotten into a hot tub right after, because it basically relaxed his body way too much and basically put him in like a I don't want to say coma. And the word isn't coma. It's like basically it just knocked him on his butt. It's a sedative. Let's say it sedated him. So yeah, he probably shouldn't have done it in a pool. Unfortunately, accidents do happen. And once again, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. I did love Friends. Okay, I liked Friends. Let me just say that I liked Friends.
Oh,
I liked Friends.
Matthew Perry from Friends. That was Chandler.
You did.
You kept saying Matthew Perry. I'm like, Tay, I don't know who Matthew Perry is. Then you're like, Matthew Perry from Friends. And I'm like, I still don't know him. And then you were like, he died from drugs. And I was like, oh, I read about that. You're talking about Chandler. You know what? I read a couple quotes from him, and it surprised me first that he struggled with drug addiction for so many years, like really for a lifetime. And it was interesting that he felt his character in Friends reflected like who he was in real life. Like he felt like he wasn't very handsome, that he was not good with women. But I think he thought he was funny, or at least funny enough. Like he figured that out. Okay, so you're saying
that's how it is sometimes. Yeah, sometimes all you got is humor to get around in this world with. I feel that. At least that's what you think
Okay.
sometimes. That's what you think sometimes, you know?
So you're saying he took drugs, got in the hot tub, and died.
He took drug therapy. His body was sedated by it while he was in this.
Oh, you talking about methadone?
See, this is how I know. See, I was telling you poetry news, and now you've been sitting there asking me questions. Ketamine fusion therapy. It's an
But it's not
experiment.
like a type of methadone for rich people.
Okay, I don't take ketamine. I don't.
You have the news. I'm thinking like whatever you read told you what it's supposed to. It was the purpose to get him off drugs, or was the purpose
It was to treat his anxiety and his depression. Which
he was still on drugs. That sounds like methadone to me.
So well, either way, he took it. It sedated his body. He shouldn't have been in a hot tub, and he died, unfortunately.
Okay, so he was in drug-induced sleep and in the hot tub, and he drowned. Okay, that's sounding similar to Whitney Houston's story. Wasn't she on drugs? She fell asleep in the bathtub and drowned.
Pretty much, unfortunately. Yeah,
Drowning.
It's sad. People still fighting demons. Unfortunately, people are still fighting their demons. But
you know what? I feel drowning is one of the worst ways to die. However, if you're on drugs, really, all you did was get high and go to sleep and not wake up.
Yeah. I guess in the long run, it sounds like he didn't suffer. He fell asleep and drowned. Well, he was not aware of his suffering. It sounds. At least I hope he wasn't. I hope it wasn't a moment of like he was aware of his sedation and going under. That would be sad. That would be very sad.
It would be crazy if it was like a thing of what is it called? Sleep paralysis. Like you can feel your body, but you can't wake up. So it's possible he may have felt himself drowning, but he could not wake up. Who knows?
Who knows? Well,
that's
either
unfortunate.
Way, it's very unfortunate.
His family and his demise. That is a tragic end to a great man's life. A great career, and he was a great character on a very legendary comedy show. So rest in peace, Matthew Perry.
Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. Now, next piece of news is a bit little happier. So Emma Watson is, quote, glad she left acting. If you don't know who Emma Watson is, she played Hermione off of Harry Potter. So she did some other things as well. However, that's what she's most known for, as well as, being one of the most, I guess, beautiful women to many people, So, she is currently, what?
Is she that to you, Tay?
Okay, Bellz. I merely report the news as it's being told. I report what I see in the world. People think that Emma Watson is very beautiful. Now, do I think she's beautiful? Not as beautiful as some people that I am very friendly with.
But this is my a long time to answer the question. Just get to the news story, please.
That's what I get for trying to be careful. So, Emma Watson, at 33, she states that venturing into writing, directing, and studying provided her with a more creative space. Leaving acting was the best thing, one of the best decisions she made, apparently. I'm just so glad that I did, because I have this feeling of having my own voice and creative space and sovereignty in some way that I don't think I did before. More autonomy. So basically, she also says She is glad she, quote, allowed things to be messy for a minute and to really allow myself to not know what's next. Emma Watson not left acting, but she basically took a break from acting to go focus on herself and to focus on her own creative juices. Instead of being in somebody else's stuff, she wanted to make stuff herself. And yes, she went through a messy period at first, but now she feels like she's in a much better place with her decision. Good for
Okay.
her.
Hold up. Before you say it a third time, she she decided to have the courage to try something new, and she had the patience to figure it out, and she's glad that she went through the process. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll never forget how displeased she was during the era of Twilight, the late 2000s, early 2010s. Like those teen awards, MTV awards, the accolades, like a lot of the stuff Harry Potter was nominated for was not winning because there was Twilight. And I'm telling you, I know she was hurt. Because really, like in terms of like acting, I think performance, like of character, Harry Potter should have gotten a few. But like Twilight was sweeping, and I was just like, wow, that's kind of unfair. But I'm glad she's found her lane, and I think that's really important, especially as a young woman in society. I think we fight very hard to not only select a career, but thrive in the lanes we select.
Indeed.
She's not doing anything easy. She's very brave.
Very brave. I give her that much. I praise her for that, honestly, because some people don't try new things at all. Like, at all. So, kudos to her for that.
She's brave and she's rich. How rich is she really? I'm just kidding. We're talking about the principle of the matter.
Exactly. We're talking, maybe y'all out there listening should do the same thing. If you feel nervous about something, try it anyway. That nervousness is probably just eagerness, but you're also just afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of failure. Be cool with messing up every now and again.
Hey, failure is incompletion. You only fail when you don't finish. Completion is success. You succeed when you complete. So whatever you set out to do, just make sure you finish it. It doesn't have to be how you thought it was going to be. It's rarely going to be how you think it's going to be. You may start going through it and your vision may change, but you have to keep your bottom line in mind. And you have to complete your goal. It can be something simple. I want to be on TV. That's your goal. Now, if you're on TV once in any capacity, you've done it. You've completed. That is success. Now, if you take it further and build upon your goal, okay. But if you don't ever do it, you failed. You did not complete. So just keep that in mind.
Motivational speaker K Bellz, y'all. Y'all should pay her for that wisdom.
I learned it in church.
Thanks, Reverend.
I'm a deacon.
Oh, my bad. Thanks, Deacon.
Reverend. I'm a deacon.
My bad, Deacon.
I don't think there's any female versions for like church leaders besides like priestess. And I don't even think that's like of the church. Isn't that of like pagan?
Pagan.
Yeah. And prophetess. I think that's the only thing that's like. But I think prophetess is like the religious version of witch. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't think that.
That sounds pagan to me as well. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Stop
Wow.
typing out on Discord.
I'm not on some Discord. What?
Um,
My computer's just janky.
oh, okay. Well, um, let's end this with the slam since you're done with poetry news. You kind of left me hanging. I was like, is Tay gonna hit me with another story? But it seems.
I gave you 2 pieces of news. How much more you want?
Yeah, but you didn't say and that was poetry news. So I'm thinking
Oh
one,
my
two,
goodness.
three. You usually saying that was poetry news.
And that was poetry news.
Hey, hey. Okay, so you guys know I'm on TikTok, and I've been really liking some people who still do story times. Like I'm still a lover of story times, and I found one TikToker who told a really funny story about he works in an ice cream parlor. Somebody stole a tub of ice cream, and he says this slang phrase to describe the thief. He sets it up like, oh, this guy, he comes to the parlor and he's asking for like free sample cups of ice cream. My coworker says don't give him another one because he already asked for two. And I'm like, oh snap, he's over whooping it, meaning he's taking advantage, he's overdoing it. And when he said over whooping it, I was like, I've never heard that before. That sounds so fun. Over whooping it. Wow, over whooping it. So end of the story. The guy ends up returning the ice cream like in another video, but it kind of got me curious about what are some interesting slang phrases, and let's slam on that. Think of a slang phrase you use often or even your favorite, and try to incorporate it into a poem, and we'll go back and forth on that. So I'm going to start with over whooping it. Yeah.
Okay.
Tay, do you want to start? Because really, usually
you.
B might.
I'm not being
Okay.
mine.
I know you're not B might, but you haven't done any poems, so.
I know.
And
You did.
you're a poet now. You've transitioned to poet.
Don't lie to the audience like that.
I'm not lying.
Don't tell the audience that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do my best to start the slam.
Mm-hmm.
So let me put you to the side. No, I'll put you underneath. Okay. I think I should turn off the Christmas music. I'm so nervous. I feel like starting the slam is hard. I do. I feel like starting it is hard. Okay. Secret. That's why I always put it on B mic. I mean, I do usually come with a poem, so you gotta bring something, but um mm 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 mm. Tay, stop making eyes at me. Okay. Welcome to my slangiverse. I'm going to spend all the time I need to think of a verse, but you know what? Let me start with my favorite, which is over whooping it, overdoing it, taking over the universe with my horsing. Horsing, I mean on go, because I just don't know what every single word I hear means. I'm on TikTok scrolling through memes because I just want to know another slang thing that I can say on this poetry thing. Okay, Bellz. I want to move you up.
On God, that poem was busted for real. No cap, that poem was mighty, mighty real. Mm, you over whooping it, or so you think you over whooping it, but I think you chilling. TayDZ.
I'm gonna have to stand on business. Keep over whooping it. You came with all this talk, 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 back talk to me about my slang phrases. I don't think you really know how to do this. Talking about on God. For real? Okay, cuz you don't know nothing about Pyru because I just learned that on TikTok too. K Mouse.
Why are you talking about on Pyru? Nothing about you screams blood, blood. Come on, cuz, get real. End up being a crip around these pieces if you keep talking like that. On God. TayDZ.
See walk, see me. I got red lipstick on me. You talking about on God? I don't take his name in vain because I'm about his business, my business, and I'm standing on it. You see me, cuz welcome to my slangiverse with the furry bucket hat because I stay styling, I stay looking good, girl, bruh. What else did I read on TikTok? K Bounce.
See, now I'm gonna take it back because you're totally like hitting all the notes. Not. You're absolutely chilling, and I don't think you're a little spicy right now. I actually think this is not tubular at all. Shaw. TayDZ.
TayDZ, sit all the way back, please, with the Doja Cat Valley Girl voice. No, that is so displeasing. Like really, but like let me take a step back from everything you just said and step into everything I'm about to be because we're living in the plot, baby. We're doing everything for the plot, baby. You see this fur, baby. We are still living in the 90s. Throwback to the Fresh Prince. What did they used to say back then? Oh, I'm so swole in this slang of verse of everything rhyming. K Bells.
This, if this is the plot, you can't be the main character of this story because I'm the one this planet revolves around. So go back on TikTok and be the NPC. You heard? TayDZ.
I'm not an NPC, and even if I were, you keep looking at me. I know my hands are floating, but this is what I do to get money. You see, all of the people in your community come on my page and keep sending me tips, roses, and everything. You know, it doesn't matter what role I play. I could be from the hood, I could be a teacher in the classroom. Hey, I could be a student, but I'm still getting paid. Hey, Bounce.
That was pretty out of sight. Not gonna lie. That rocked my world. Honestly, I think what you just said really, grinded my gears. It really set me into a tizzy. It may have even, made me go a little loco. But honestly, I concede defeat because K Bellz and her Slangiverse beat me in my older verse. TayDZ.
Not you saying grinding my gears, taking us all the way back to the Family Guy years. I know you don't know what a slang of verse is. You go on Wikipedia trying to look up what every abbreviation is. IDK, I don't know. IDC, I don't care. RMR, remember. Remember back when you had your youth and your Will I Dare? Okay, Bounce.
Will I dare? Will I am? I do dare you. I double dog dare you. Hit me with something fire. Put me under the ground. Please. Go ahead and shoot fire at me. Put me out of my misery. I know you don't have the power to, though. Your arms are too short to box with God, so how can you stand up to me? TayDZ.
You ain't TayDZ. You sounded more like SAS, Stephen A. Smith on your God complex. Please, talking about my arms short. These things are long. Have you seen me? Oh, you're never looking. Just like you're not seeing at the top of the screen that it says poetry. Slamm. That's not what this thing is about. We are not throwing that kind of heat of that type of insulting. I'm not trying to smash. I want to slam with poetry, with rhythm and timing, with everything rhythmic and great memories. Okay, Bells.
I understand this is a battle of words. I understand this is about the pen, not the sword. However, I'm a man who likes to throw a few rounds, who likes to hit some haymakers, you know, while I'm at work being the paymaker, you know. TayDZ himself is a man of many, many skills. Poetry is the one thing that I can't really kill. However, every now and again I throw out a bar. Every now and again I can get a little far. Sometimes I can put together a rhyme, but sometimes the words that I say can seem like a crime because I'm not really making anything interesting. I'm just trying to do my best, you know. I'm not really trying, doing no dissing. I just want to say some funny words sometimes. Something that kind of sounds a little sublime, something that sounds a little funny. I don't mean to be crummy. I apologize, K Bells. Do you forgive me? I don't want to seem like a pygmy, but I just want to be somebody who, you can shout poems at, you know? I'm sorry if my words sound a little crap. TayDZ.
TayDZ, you sound crazy with all that whining. It's very clear to me you think you're light skinned with all these sad boy lines. It sounds like you put some Drake in it, please. Bring it back this time and stop trying to rhyme. You want some fire poetry? Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to leave you with this last line. Okay, Bells. That was the line.
If that was the line, that's pretty easy to cross. I thought you was this show's boss. But this level ain't too hard. You're a boss battle that I can get past. I think we might need to do a recast. I think I'm the main character here. Because I'm the only one that y'all should fear. I'm the only character in this plot that really, can get you got. So honestly, TayDZ ride off on his high horse because your stable isn't big enough. Oh no, that didn't rhyme. I guess that was my last crime. I guess this show was out of time. But I should be fine, right? I'll get it right, and I'll get it tight for next week. So I can go ahead. Stay on fleek. That's the last slang I got for y'all. I think it's time we end this call. TayDZ.
Okay, we had to end it on you, Tay, because we started with me. So we're even on the turns. By the way, I am the boss. Yeah, I am. What the heck? Don't try me.
That's interesting. I see that right here, and it says Poetry Slam. I don't see it say Poetry Slam, starring Bellz.
It's K, then Tay. That's all I must say. Thank you so much, Tay, for filling in for Be Mine on this episode. You are so appreciated, and can't wait to get B Mike back on the next one because no one can replace his energy. However, we made it happen. So I'm happy. Are you happy?
I'm happy.
Well, you are listening to Poetry Slam with Bellz.
And TayDZ featuring Bellz.
Well, I got mentioned twice, so that just lets you know how big I am. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, and comment. Follow us on Poetry Slam, all social media. Good night.
I'm the meat between the sandwich.